Thank you very much. I don't think I'll be using mic. So if you cannot hear me, please raise your hand. So what this session is going to be about is a lot of engagement, I hope. So this was one of the areas that were earmarked at the faculty retreat. So an area that we need to develop further as an institution, right? So what we will do is I will, you've seen the setup. So we envisage around 40 people, 35 have registered, and maybe some are in addition to that. So there are three groups. Okay. So what we will do is eventually you'll be working on case studies. But in the beginning, what I want you to do is one group at a time, and I'll explain what I want, why we did this afterwards. Okay. So please hear out the instructions. What I want you to do is, as a group, you'll go to that table and someone will pick the cloth. So you will be given 10 seconds to observe what is underneath the cloth on the tray. And then going back to your table without consulting anyone, you will make a list of the items that you remember. Is that understood? Yes. So you make the list of the items that you remember, however many they are. Doesn't matter. Okay? Yes. So one list per group? No. That's what I said. Individual list. Okay? Individual list, that's very important. Later on, we'll have sort of a discussion. All right? But initially, it's going to be every individual creating their own list, and I would rather you wrote it down instead of just keeping it in your head. Clear? Shall we start? So we'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people going to that table. You'll be shown some items for 10 seconds, write the items down, and then come back to your table and just let the others go. Do not have a discussion. One person from each group will write. No, everyone will write their list. Okay, go. No, Shaita. And Dr. Shaita. Okay. No, not here. Nobody else. Okay. Next floor, please. On your own, you could write the item. Okay, 10 minutes, 10 seconds are over. Okay, last floor, please. आप इधर आ जाइए। इधर। All right. So, how many of you got around 14, 15 items? No? 10 items. Oh, nice. 12 items. Okay. How many got 12 items? Only Noni and Dr. Kuratulan. Okay. 11 items. Nice. Okay. 10. Not bad. And 8. Okay. Okay. All right. So see, can anyone guess what we are going to be doing with this activity? Can anyone suggest? Okay, memory and retention, very good. What else? So where does that fall when we are teaching and learning, where we are in the process of teaching and learning? Yeah, it falls everywhere. So fall in a
There's a two-step falling in
Okay, thank you, Naomi.
Yeah.
So Bloom's taxonomy का जो सबसे lower level है, that is memory and recall. All right. So we've started with that, and what I want you to do next is so these were some of the items that you were shown. Okay. So what you are going to do now is just read these instructions. So pick up any one of the items that you had put down on the list, any one, and then write on that same piece of paper what was that object, where is it used, how is it used, why can't another object replace it easily, and the last one is what metaphor could you use to compare this object with. All right. So these are the questions that you are going to answer. So what was the object? Okay. Where is it used? How is it used? Why can't another object replace it easily? And the last one is what metaphor could you use to compare this object with? I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. 5 minutes. Because we have to think about the metaphor and it better be really interesting and creative. One. Out of all the list of the list that you've jotted down, just pick one. If you want there, you could go and see, and then done. Begin with the people who are done, and I want everyone to please pay attention. We have Puratulan and then after that, Dr. Ijaz, and then who else is there? Naomi, Saida, Sarada. Okay, in this order. Yes. That's all. Why am I saying? I don't mind. So that's the lens everyone. Yeah.
Do I need to stand up? All right. I think the object I chose is very cliched in terms of this literary metaphor. It's eraser. And it is used to erase mistakes and unwanted things. And how it is used? It's used by rubbing it on the surface of the paper or wherever you want it. Question number 4: why can't another object replace it easily? Because no other object is made to erase things. It's particularly made for that one purpose. And it can be used as a metaphor for human ability to forget and to erase unwanted people from their memory. And in the context of science fiction, it actually has been used in a movie where Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, they erase their memories. They have this sort of procedure get done on their memories, and for a few months they get them erased, but somehow it comes back. Thank you.
Question, what was the object? The object I have selected the color markers, and because it is for coloring the images, making the pictures, it basically activates the right side of the brain. And how is it used? One at a time, one color at a time you can use, and for the as per the image requirement or the sequence requirement. And why cannot another object replace it easily? Because of variety of the colors and the brightness of the colors. Okay. And what metaphor basically, I whenever I see the multiple colors, I recall rainbow and butterflies. Okay, then I will dip my brush in the colors of rainbow to draw the portrait picture of their beauty. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have selected the punch machine. And the punch machine, I have taken the idea from the movie Smashing Machine. And it is used to make the paper fit in the file. And of course, none of the other object has the capability to create the space within the page so that that can be fit in the file. And why it is important, why how it is used? It is used to make the paper fit for the file. Second, the most important thing, the movie, the Smashing Machine was also addressing the same idea that until you remove some of your qualities, you cannot be fit into a particular environment. So therefore,
Okay, so the object that came to my mind was pen. I chose a pen and it is used for writing. How it is used with ink and to write on a piece of paper. Um, so why can't it? Why it cannot be replaced easily? Because I mean, I was thinking in the context of communication and journalism. So I was thinking of the power of pen, what it can do, and the power of words on a piece of paper. So the metaphor that came to my mind, they say that pen is mightier than a sword. Yeah. So that's the metaphor that I thought of. Is a stapler and it's used in any office. It could be a corporate office, it could be any educational office. It cannot be replaced by any other object because it has a particular purpose and it has the way we say a student is different and each has a different skill. So its particular purpose is to secure papers together. It's not like it's a minimal object, and until and unless you take off the pin yourself, it cannot be taken off. It can't be okay. I talked about the last thing is a metaphor. I just thought of two to three different things. Like usually the pins are so tight that until you take them off, they can't be taken off on its own. So it's like a bear's claw. It could also mean holding something together, and it could also refer to people who stick with you in tough situations and they don't let you get scattered or shattered anyway, and they just help you to stay together. Thank you.
Yes, the object I selected was pencil, and it can be used in office or for writing. And children also use it, and adults also use it. It is used for writing. As I said, this is number 3 question. Why can't another object replace it easily? Because when you write with pencil, you can rub it if you don't like it, and you can make your own thing, or you draw, or you can write with pencil. And what metaphor could you use to compare this subject with, that you can make it according to yourself, that is in your mind? You can make a perfect figure or word, and you can stay with it. That, yeah, but
Much for your conversation. We moved on here. What you just saw was an example of what we all do in our classroom. So we go from the lower order skills to the higher order skills, right? So Bloom's taxonomy is one such way to get students from a lower order of thinking to the highest order of thinking. And the highest order of thinking is actually, when you created the metaphor. Now, what were you doing when you created a metaphor? The people who did think at a higher level of creativity, because that is where you synthesize. When you synthesize information, you already have a certain amount of information or knowledge with you, and then you add your own information and make it into a new. So we call innovation also is life synthesis, right? So what we do when we are challenging our students, so when we say what is knowledge? What is a knowledge question? Where and when are comprehension questions. So what, where, and when donate or denote the knowledge and the comprehension part of the Bloom's taxonomy. Then we come to how is application. Then we come to why, what is, that is analysis. And then we come to evaluation. How could this be, or what is the result of? So you thought about a pencil or an eraser or a stapler or a punch machine. So all of that, when you think, okay, where can I take it? How can I compare it? And then when you actually compare it with something which is abstract, something which is not perhaps concrete. So, for example, erasing memories. Erasing memories is not concrete, it's abstract. Getting people together or people who stick with you together. It's again abstract concept, not concrete. Pen is mightier than sword. It's something that we say, we see, but actually it is an abstract concept. Knowledge is power. Right? So when we come from concrete to abstract, what we are doing is we are sort of triggering imagination. Okay. And that imagination, when you do it as a habit, it becomes a skill. Imagination is a skill. Okay. So, and then we have, I'm sure every one of you who is a teacher, you're all faculty members, you would know the different words or action verbs that are linked to the different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. All right. Now, what we are going to do in this session is there is this national survey for student engagement, and they have highlighted 4 indicators. Okay. So the four indicators that they have highlighted, we are going to test that today through case studies by giving you different tasks. Okay. So this is what we are doing. This is what the survey for school engagement has highlighted or has identified as the four themes. Okay. There is academic challenge. Within academic challenge, we have higher order learning or thinking. We have reflective and integrative learning. We have learning strategies. We have quantitative reasoning. In the theme of learning strategy, learning with peers, we have collaborative learning, discussion with diverse others, experiences with faculty, experiences with faculty के अंदर student faculty interaction, effective teaching practices, campus environment, quality of interactions और supportive environment. तो ये चार themes हैं, उन चार themes के अंदर सब themes हैं, ठीक है? So I will now give you, everyone has a different case study. You will go over those case studies and then as a group, first you can read it on your own, then have a discussion. There's a table right at the end. So you have to fill the table. Okay? So you have about 10 minutes to do this activity and we are at 13:30. So 1:30 is the time. You've got about 5 to 7 minutes to read and then to discuss. Can we have the lights on? Yes. 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 What were the that was either most or not? What was the moment in the class? So was it in the beginning of the class? Was it somewhere in the middle? But identify that as a place in the class. And you have just 3-4 minutes to be just quick. You can discuss it then. This will be done as a group. Have a discussion. What what was happening with that. Or the middle of the class, or what is the time of the class? Yes. 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 Here, I have he wants a wala invested. ये तो मैंने आपके साड़ी देखी है हाँ रखोगे आपको Any ambiguity for anyone? Yeah. Two more minutes for you to work in your groups. All right. So what we are going to do now is I want you to please find yourself. There'll be 3 people in one group with 3 color of these worksheets. So you'll all get up. You'll find one person who has a blue sheet for the orange one and a yellow sheet. So there'll be 3 people, one with orange, one with blue, one with yellow. And you're going to tell the other the case study that you were given and what was it about. Okay, so I'll give you about 3-4 minutes to do that. Please get up. Yes. Get up, jaldi se. Time come hai. Time's up. Find the person. Yeah. आगे सारे इंग्लिश के जमा हो गए देखिए पहले से और डॉक्टर Very One bit of instruction. Who will tell me? मैंने आपको एक टास्क दिया है, इसका मैं एंड से आपसे क्या पूछूंगी? What is my what do I expect you to come up with?
A list of something paper
Okay.
they are available now.
Okay.
But most of
So
the things they are not available.
3 case studies together, and then what should the teachers do differently? Okay? All right. So I'll give you 2 more minutes to gather your thoughts together, and then we come back as a group. Please stop discussion. Can we come back as a group? Okay. So we start with one group and they will tell us, so each group will get a chance, but what you are going to do is, I'm sure कि आपने सारे points को अच्छा सा you catch them out. But what one group says, the other person or other group does not say. So perhaps by the time we reach the last group, we don't have any more additional points, okay? But nobody is going to replicate, okay? So we'll start with this group. We'll go here, we'll go there, we'll go here, we'll come here, and then your group is the last group, okay? Start. और ऐसे बोलेंगे सबको समझ में आप माइक दे दो प्लीज डॉक्टर पुरतुलन को
Thank you, ma'am, for good activity. We have made the table. We have discussed our 3 case studies. The first case study was about this lecture on the hidden curriculum. The second case study was about group work on social responsibility. The third one was communication or completion. So what we have done, we have tried to find the common things that were missing. So the most common thing that was missing among the 3 case studies was experience with faculty. Then and the next thing we discussed academic challenge. The case study named as hidden curriculum. She mentioned that academic challenge was there, but as far as the campus, the group work and communication was concerned, there was no academic challenge. Third one was learning with peers. So except the communication one, the other 2 case studies were having this factor missing.
मैंने तो खैर anyways, so the academic challenge that our group thinks is that the teacher was in some cases prepared, or in some cases, he was not prepared, but he did not allow students to engage with him. So, probably, I would suggest that we should allow the students to settle down first and elaborate the topic to excite them about the particular idea without engagement, without explaining the concept or the idea or the topic that he or she is going to tell. The students were unable to engage with them. They were unable to understand what is going to be in the exam, how they will be evaluated. So everything was in the air. With what the child.
So what we've also discovered is that the environment was not supportive, and also there was a lack of reflective and integrative learning as well, because this the teacher did not actually, there was no student and faculty interaction, and an effective student and faculty interaction was missing.
First of all, there was no high order learning, and it was not because there was no collaborative learning possibilities offered in the classroom in all three case studies. There were no instructions, there was no warm up activity designed for the students, there was no clear explanation of the projects that were handed over to the students, and there was no feedback. So that shows that because of this lack of student faculty interaction, it also led to a lack of student interaction in all three case studies that we had.
So in our what I think we think is that all four of them are missing, because first of all she did give a challenge, but she should have started with a challenge. And then she should have provided a clear rubric. In that rubric, the roles have to be defined. When you're working in a group, there have to be certain roles, and the roles need to have a role description. So, and after that, she did give an example, but later on, the responses that the class has generated, they need to be evaluated. The students need to be pushed to deeper level thinking, and they have to see the areas that need to be worked on, or the problems need to be identified, and then there has to be a collaborative solution to develop. This is what I think.
I think all of these been discussed. So I would like to highlight one thing which I noticed in all these three case studies. I think engagement is missing here in all three of these, because you know what? You just cannot go into the class and drop the bomb there that today we are going to do this. You slowly ease students into the topic, whatever you are going to talk about. For example, I'll take an example from the study communication or completion. Teaching communication, why don't you start with this? What would you do if you have been delivered a damaged product by an online order delivery service? How would you respond to this? So let's make it formal, and you are this person and you're writing it. Would ease understand, and perhaps she would also, the teacher would also help students with word choices. Which word would be more academically and professionally better in personal communication or informal or business communication? So student engagement and connecting it with their personal experience is severely missing in all of these three case studies.
Thank you very much for all your participation. The one thing that I want you to tell me is that who was working in this 1 hour, at least 50 minutes that we had this session? Who was working and who was having a really good time walking around? Okay. So
observing and what to do. She was जिसको period बोलते हैं ना, because now we are in this activity and we need to have that sixth sense. It become a problem हो रहा है. तो हम लोग solution आ रहे हैं. She reach there and she try to fix it. And trust me, there are so many things in there.
Yeah.
Dealing with them and even with those individuals, kind of finishing it off nicely. That's what everyone is working. I think nobody is doing. Yes. Okay, so देखिए, एक book है The Lazy Teacher, John Smith. Please read that. The Lazy Teacher. What we did today is that the teacher, when you plan lessons well, you are well planned, then what happens is that you are on your feet when you know the content that you're teaching. But most of the time what happens is that we go into a class without planning and without taking that effort or making that effort to engage is a word which is fully laden. So you engage mentally, you engage yourself bodily, physically, in every different way. And that is where good teaching happens. So this entire session, I hoped that you all got a sense of what engagement or what student engagement is all about. What are the indicators that you need to really take care of? And make sure that pedagogy. So what we did was, rather than having just giving you the scenarios, having 3 different color paper, and then having different people talk about their case studies to the other, that is a part of that engagement or collaborative inquiry. So just having the pedagogies which are innovative, which make student work differently. And I knew that there were one subject group wanting to work together. So I made sure that they work with other people. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session.